Here are some book club meeting highlights from our discussions about Tender is the Flesh. I'm glad you mentioned applicants, because that's one of the first questions I have here is, what did you think of the contrast between the two applicants who toured the facility? So, we had the tall man, they just referred to them as the tall man and the short man. The tall man was weirded out by the whole process, and the short one was like in awe. So what did you think about the contrast between the two applicants? Who wants to go first?
Well, I think the short man is psycho. And
I agree.
I think the tall man has his morals with him, but he's fighting with it. Like, he's fighting with, I need this job I can do this, but ew.
Yeah. I hope they keep his ass in the damn facility and make him into some meat, because he wildin'.
Yeah, he's crazy. Because you know what? I feel like somebody like that, because you can, let's say for instance, it's not humans, it's animals that they slaughtering. You can do that type of work and still have empathy for the animals that you're slaughtering. He was like in awe of it, and I feel like somebody,
he was happy. He was excited
about it.
He wanted to get into it right away. He said, yes.
Right.
I feel like somebody who is like that, they would go outside the facility and kill people for fun.
Those
people learn how to do it.
Those people, those type of people are dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
He's like serial killer status, like scary shit.
Mm-hmm.
And since he see people doing this, he's probably gonna have less care or empathy for humans now that he sees what's going on behind the walls.
And I'm glad that Marcos was able to notice, like, this guy is not the one.
Yeah, he noticed immediately.
I knew the short guy was weird from the beginning. I knew something was going to happen with the short guy, because you could tell he was enjoying it too much.
Yeah, that's what we were saying too.
The whole, yeah. The taller guy had more reserve to it. He was more like, I'll do it because I need the money. But you could tell it was a little bit too much for him. But the short one he liked it way too much.
Our question for this part is, what do you think of the dream Marcos had? What's your interpretation of it?
Listen, I'll say this.
Okay.
I kind of understood the dream, but I also didn't understand the dream. You get what I'm saying? Like, it was just a lot going on. Like, him going, like, even when that stone or whatever got jammed in there, like, and he visualized himself going through it, I feel like he might be becoming a little bit more empathetic.
I feel like I have to read the dream sequence again, because when I first read it, I was so confused, and I feel like the fact that he had everyone in the dream, his feelings is everywhere, and I felt like that was like prominent. He, like, he's seen his father, he's seen his wife. It was a lot going on with him, but I couldn't really understood it, what he was getting at, how he was feeling with his dream. So I think I got to read it again.
I read the dream twice, and I felt like he was being haunted by all the things in his life. Just like you said, I wrote that down in my notes. I was like, his father's there, his son is there, his wife was in the dream, but his wife had the face of that girl he'd been having an affair with. And then the things that happened in the facility, like when they hit the people over the head to knock him unconscious, that happened to him in a dream. So it's like he's being haunted by all the, kind of like the negative things in his life. His father is sick. Right. His father was in a dream. His son died. His son was in a dream. His wife is grieving, left him because she couldn't deal with the death of their son. She was in the dream. And then he's been sleeping with this butcher lady, this other woman. She was in the dream. And then the job, which he's conflicted about, that was part of the dream. So I just felt like he was being haunted by all these things in his life. And I was like, I don't know. I think more things about the dream will make sense the further we get into the book, because it's probably foreshadowing some other things. Right. Like the whole stone thing in the chest, that's probably going to be foreshadowing for something later to come. But it does seem like he's being haunted by a lot of things. And that's probably his conscience weighing on him. What do you think, Angel, about Marco's dream?
I feel like he's starting to feel empathetic about like everything that he's doing, you know what I mean? And I do kind of feel like, I mean, I could be wrong. I kind of feel like it's something more to his son's death, but I don't know. You know, I could be wrong. Maybe that's why he having. I feel like that's why he having a dream anyway. Because I feel like, because he said the son went to sleep and he didn't wake up, and I'm like, okay, I think there's something going on, but I don't know. I could be wrong. Like when we read further in the book, I could be wrong, but I like his dad was there, was watching, and then like the wolf was like eating the son. Like it was kind of weird, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I felt like his conscience is eating him alive.
So what did you guys think of his sister? And just we're gonna share one at a time. So whoever is not sharing, just keep your mics on mute. Lindsay, go ahead.
He does not like her at all. He can see straight through her crap. Her kids are kind of like rotten. Like,
her kids are little assholes. Her kids are
oh
assholes.
My God. And then like she keep trying to put off going to see their father and stuff. Like she don't give a damn. She keeps like forcing everything on. Like I feel the same way about her. Like that's Marcos too. Like, and then he like she forced me to take that umbrella. Like, what are the neighbors gonna say? And then she got that weird door going on. Then the kids talking about eating people, and it's just she got something going on with her, and he sees straight through it. So I think more is gonna come out about her.
Anybody else got any thoughts on Marco's sister?
I feel like she won. You remember when like COVID happened and a lot of people was going like crazy, where like I can't really explain it. Where like they were just doing like they were just so paranoid. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think she kind of one of those people.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
And I don't really like that she don't go see her dad. Like it's like it's your dad. Like she always blame on, oh, the kids have homework, the kids have this, the kids have that. I'm busy. Like, girl, your daddy is like sick. Like you need to go see him. So I don't know. I feel like something happened between her and the dad that Marcos don't know about. That's why she don't want to go see the dad. That's what I think.
Yeah, it could be. She, like you said, she makes a lot of excuses. It was to the point where I was like, "Oh my God, girl!" Especially when she kept bringing up the umbrella. I was like, "Stop talking about the goddamn umbrella!" Like he works.
Yeah, and it was so funny when he had threw the umbrella away.
Yeah, and right in front of her, she was still watching. But it's like he works in this world. Like he works for the facility, and he's very close to this world of the virus and harvesting humans and stuff like that. So he would know what would make him sick, and she just trying to pressure him. And before I get finished sharing, Kwame, you got anything to share about his sister?
Yeah, she had a reason for inviting him because the door she mentioned, like he said like it was like a door where they keep head, I guess, people they want to eat, whatever. And she said, oh, how much does it cost to get it from your place? And he's like, I'm not gonna discuss that with you right now. She's like, well, I called your job, and they said. Then I think he got loud with her after that. When he said something back to her, she stopped talking about it. So she really wanted him over there to see if she could get, I guess, special meat from his business. Yeah. And she really did. And then he's like, he got mad at that and mentioned the father. He's like, you want to talk about that? Let's talk about our father. Have you seen him? Are you going to see him? And that made him mad that she wants to talk about other things other than was quite obvious, which should be the health of our father.
Right. I think she's very selfish. She's like delusional. She's like
she is
out of touch with reality, especially when she was like, oh, something about the government. Like she's very she says something about because the government said so. And it's like, bitch,
yeah.
Like you trust the government. When she started talking about how she trusts the government, that's when I was like, okay, she's delusional. And then she's very selfish because just like you said, she only asked him to come over because she wanted something from him.
Yeah.
She didn't really want to see him. She just needed something from him. So
yeah.
I don't know. I think she's naive. I'm wondering if he actually cares for her or if he just saw an opportunity to get something that he was missing, like to get that back.
Exactly.
Like he, like companionship or another child because he lost a child, and after all this time, I was like, damn, his wife really didn't come back. Like, and that's also something I'm wondering as well. Like, what's gonna happen if he's gone one day and she decides to come back to the house and she finds her in the house, locked up in the room, pregnant as fuck? Like, what the fuck is going to happen? What are your thoughts or opinions on the members of the church sacrificing and donating their bodies to be slaughtered?
The fact that they don't want to do it was the funniest part. Is that deep down they don't want to do it, but they're doing it anyway because of their belief.
It reminded me of a cult. So, like, a lot of times people in a cult are brainwashed. They don't really know what they're getting themselves into.
They woke up.
Right. So, like, these people didn't really know what they were getting themselves into until they were in that situation. That's why she ran, because she was like, wait a minute. She ain't that stupid. She ain't that crazy. What do you think of, I think you pronounce his name, Yerlet? That he was visiting that guy, and the one who had all the human heads.
I was talking about that part with my mother, and she was saying that she had a hard time reading that part because then he said like how he had human heads on his wall and how he had pictures when he was in Africa hunting, and he had their heads on sticks and stuff. She's like, I did like you. What's his name? Yuri, whatever his name is. I didn't like that part.
That guy, Yerlet, so however you pronounce his name, he is a sadist. He is crazy. He's insane. Like, he enjoys hunting people. And there are people right now that are crazy like that. Like, this isn't far from the truth. That there's people who have eaten people and probably still do, serial killers and doing all kind of weird shit. There's people who hunt people for fun. Like, there was a story that came out, I think, a couple years ago. This Jamaican guy, he was Jamaican. He got asked to come hunting with one of his old co-workers, and he didn't know that he was going to be the prey. They basically hunted him down. He had all these shots in his back. They basically hunted him down and left him there dead in the woods, and then everybody just went back home to their families like nothing happened. They found his girlfriend reported him missing. They found him in the woods, shot all up in the back, so you can tell he was like running away. And I'm like, these people invited him there to hunt him. That's what happened. They did that shit. It probably wasn't an initiation shit, and nobody has been brought up on any charges. Like, people really out here hunting people, sex trafficking people. This story just brings it to a whole nother level. But this shit, it's all stuff that's really happening in real life. This reminds me of Tinder is the Flesh. That's just how they treat them. Like, her down here crying for her baby. Like, the roles are reversed.
I'm just glad I don't eat meat, so I could just read it. I could read a million books like
this. No, I was talking to my mother about that. I was like, "Oh, Mom, we about to be vegetarian,
right?"
For real.
She's like, "I'm so serious. It's making me stop. What food you want to stop eating meat?"
So this is a rapid fire, no hesitation game. So when it's your turn, you have to name a book as quickly as you can with no hesitation. We might start Potter. Right now. Oh, Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, Sorcerer's Stone.
The Coldest Winter Ever.
Bitter.
True to the Game.
This.
Frankenstein.
Push.
Plenty.
Dracula.
Children of Blood and Bone.
Carrie.
It.
Hoodlum.
I don't know what.
It's so hard.
I can't think of it.
You out, caught me?
I'm out.
All right, it's me and you, Lindsay.
All right.
It's my turn. Labor Day.
True to the Game.
Pet Cemetery. Did I say that already?
No.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, shit. I fucked up. And the worst part is I'm looking at my bookshelf, but it's everything covering every title that I own is something in front of that shit.
Oh, God. I'm trying to think of, like, when she said The Mist, I started thinking about, and Carrie, I started thinking about all these Stephen King books. That ending left me shocked.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
What are our thoughts on the main character now that we're done reading?
the ending threw me off. So I'm thinking he's a hard worker. He loves his father. He's mixed up, but he's a good person.
Mm-hmm.
But the last part threw me off because of what he did.
But the fact that he had named her Jasmine, brought her into the house, tried to teach her how to be more human, and he was being so attentive to her. He was, making sure she was good. He was dancing, spending his times off with her and all that stuff. That what threw me through a loop because he made it more. He was romanticizing her, but then he kept talking about his pets.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if back then he was trying to think of her like maybe he's treating her as if he would treat a dog. You dance around with your dog. You be cuddling with your dog. You can sleep in the bed with your dog. You could have a camera in your house looking at your dog while you at work. It's like, was it always like that? But the part that threw us off was that he had sex with her.
Right.
You're not gonna have sex with your
that
dog,
brings me
That's
back
nasty.
to what I talked about when I talked about bestiality. Later on, it is like you said, it seems like he was treating her like a pet. Because if you notice, I don't think he ever referred to the baby that she was carrying as their baby. Like, he never referred to it as our baby. It was always his baby. So I started thinking back, especially when you just said the whole pet thing, because during the time when he was being extra sweet to her, he was mentioning his pets, that his dogs a lot. So I think that was kind of like the comparison, and I just didn't pick up on it. But you made a good point here. It made me think back to what I mentioned before about bestiality. If you're treating her like a pet, if you're treating her like food, why are you having sex with her? Because you would not have sex with your dog. You would not have sex with your cow. You know what I mean? Unless you're into bestiality. Like, I know they're human still, but they don't look at them as humans. So that's the point I was trying to make before when we had one of our other meetings.
But I also felt like the author did it on purpose because through Marco's eyes, Marco sees him as both.
Yeah.
As both human and meat. So that's why I feel like him as his character, he's able to be completely fine with having sex with her and still treating her as a pet.
Hold on, I gotta get my thoughts together because it took me a week to get over this shit. Honestly, when I finished, I just looked. Honestly, the one thing I said after I really realized who he was that mother effer. That's all that shit so loud in my house. Yeah. He's a very calculated person. And it just made me feel like I can't explain the feeling. I was so devastated. Like, he had a plan all along, and I feel like he only was doing certain things for a certain reaction, I feel like he only was being nice to keep the meat right. You feel me?
Right. You had mentioned that. I think me and you was talking through Messenger.
Tender.
And you said he was only acting a certain type of way to keep the flesh tender. And I was like, God damn, that's a bar right there, because you got to treat the meat a certain type of way.
So it won't go bad.
So it won't go bad. Like, even when they were slaughtering the animals back in the, like the actual factory, you don't want them to feel the fear, because the fear does something to the meat. So that's probably why he was behaving that way, because first of all, it would have affected the meat, it would have affected the baby, and he wanted her to have a healthy pregnancy. And I'm like, damn, I didn't even think of that, yo.
Right. That's the only reason he did that.
That is so crazy. And it's crazy because the author threw us for a loop, because she mentioned things in the story about how he was checking on her through the camera or whatever, how all he wanted to do is just go home to Jasmine. There was a part in the story where he mentioned he just wanted to go away with her, like leave and go away with her.
Right.
And it's just like, I thought they were going to get caught and something bad was going to happen. What do you think about the scavengers? What do you think they represent in the story?
I think they pretty much represent like what would happen if something like that happened. Like, I believe he was explaining like the Savagers was like people that couldn't afford, the good meat. Mm-hmm. And that's what people will resort to, is like, well, I'm gonna have to go out here and get my own meat then.
Right.
So of course, like, if you're not making it available for everybody, and like this I feel like this kind of world is like at the end anyway. Of course, they're gonna try to find a way to get it themselves. Like they're not gonna starve. So I felt like they could have had at least the resources for these people to like be able to have like meat. I mean, they did, but they gave them like the low horrible meat. They just threw it out there on the fence and was like, "Here you go, here's your meat." And it was kind of like, really, like what the heck? And I kind of felt like it was crazy that the world was still like doing that, like low class, high class. You know what I mean?
Just like
It
they
was
do
like,
now.
yeah, like I'm like, you still doing this, and it's a whole virus going on, and you're not making it resources for everybody. But that just shows you, like, I feel like that's how it would happen in real life too.
Yeah, I took
But
notes on
yeah,
that. So it made me think about the misconceptions between, people who get state benefits. Let's say, for instance, food stamps. People who get food stamps and people who pay cash for food. There's a huge stereotype, misconception, and people got their own biases about people who receive government benefits. They think that, they all lazy and, they not working. They don't work. They lazy. They not working to support their family. When the truth is, a lot of people who get benefits, myself included, I don't get food stamps anymore. Just I'm eligible for food stamps. I just don't get them. But I do have housing assistance, and people look at me like I'm a lazy bum. I work like 3 jobs, so like I take care of my family, but the rent is out of control. Who the fuck can afford that? So if I can get assistance, I'm gonna get assistance. But it made me think about that, the low class, high class, like you said, because they're the marginalized people. They're at the bottom. They're the low class people. And so people already have their stereotypes about them. They just throw them off to the wayside. They're savages. They're no good to society type of thing. Versus the people who they consider civilized. But it's like civility versus uncivilized. The savages are doing the same things that these people in the factory are doing. They're just doing it in a different way. So yeah, both the same type of animal, basically the same type of savage type of person, but y'all just doing it in a different type of way. So what makes y'all better than them? Because y'all do it in a factory? It's the same thing with prostitution and porn. If I go pick up somebody off the street to have sex with them, I'm a prostitute. I'm filthy. But if I'm doing it behind the camera, it's different. It's legal if I'm doing it on camera, but it's illegal if I'm doing it in the street. Like, it don't make sense to me. What is everybody's opinion on the stone? Because after the death of his father, the stone came back up again.
Like the stone was really just his conscience, or that lump in your throat when you doing something, or like that feeling in your gut when you're doing something wrong.
I feel like the stone kind of represented him like changing after his dad died, I guess.
What do you think is the main theme of the book?
Men will men will make you feel good as hell and chop your ass up.
That's a good one, yeah.
I had to say that because that's all that went through my mind. Like, these men are liars. I will say this on a serious note. Once he started having complications, he had to call his wife nurse. I don't feel like there was no turning back now that somebody knew. Maybe if his wife didn't have to come help him with the birth of the baby and nobody ever found out, maybe he wouldn't have killed her. But maybe because he know that once one person finds out and she ended up telling somebody, he's going to get killed anyway. So maybe he had it in his mind that he was teaching her all this stuff because he felt like he, was going to keep her. And then maybe the death of his father just traumatized him so much, or just made him not care about anything anymore. Because the main thing he kept caring about, the reason he kept going to the slaughterhouse, is because his father,
Right.
So maybe he felt like once somebody found out, he couldn't keep the secret anymore.
He said she had the human look of a domesticated animal. What do you think of that last line?
I think that is like, he's saying that, like they put down dogs, they put down horses, cows, and the way they look at you, like, why are you doing this to me?
Mm-hmm.
I thought you loved me, and they have to shoot him. They have to let him go. That's what I think she was. She said, "Why are you doing this?"
He sees her as an animal. He sees her as a pet.
I think that you remember in the beginning of the book where like the Sesame would be, or the head, whatever you want to call them. Remember they would tell them that. Remember Marcus was explaining that they would kill the child because they didn't want them to go through what they was going through.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he kind of felt it was in her nature for her to do the same thing because he have seen it so many times in his line of work. That's how I kind of feel about it.
Mm.
I don't maybe could be wrong though, because she did start to show like human traits. You know what I mean?
I think it was. I have a lot of. I agree with everything that everyone said. Also, I also feel like that was just his way of convincing himself that she wasn't a human.
Yeah, I give this book an 8 out of 10. Like, it got an 8 out of 10 because the ending I was so distraught.
I was at work, girl. I was at work reading it. I work at a school. I was in the classroom. Class was in session, and I was in the back. The kids was doing something, so I was in the back reading. And it was at the end of the book, and all this stuff was happening. And I was like, "What?" I was like out loud in the class. All the kids was looking at me like, "Miss Kiki, what happened?" I could not control my emotions. It was throwing me. Let me know.
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. Okay, go ahead. What do you rate the book?
I rated a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. I'm gonna give it. Let's see. If I was going 1 through 5, I would give it a 4 out of 5. If I'm going 1 through 10, I would give it a 9 out of 10. What about you, Lindsay?
If I was doing 1 out of 5, I'll probably give it a 3 out of 5. I'll give it a 7. It wasn't a long book. I wish it was a little longer. I wish it was more detail into his thought process, Marcos.
I enjoyed the book. I can't wait for the next read.
You too.
Yeah,
All right,
guys.
guys.
I miss you guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
I miss y'all too. Same.
I'm gonna check your emails because I'm gonna send the Discord link via email again for anybody who didn't see it. Okay.
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 I'm gonna let you guys go. Happy Sunday.
Happy
Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
You too.
Enjoy November.
All right. Bye, guys. Please keep in mind that these are just highlights from our book club meetings. These aren't the full meetings in its entirety. If you'd like to get in on the conversation and get in on the fun, please join us for our next book club read, which will be taking place in the month of December. You can send me an email or comment down below if you're interested in joining.